But actually at the time was the hardest time for me. Yeah. I think you should not expect to make a friend in classes. You should.
Antes de comenzar, quiero recordarte que no olvides suscribirte y que si estés de tu agrado dejes un like. Asimismo, activa la campanita para que no te pierdas ninguno de nuestros próximos videos. Konnichiwa, Misaki desu.
Konnichiwa, Neko sensei desu.
El día de hoy les traigo un video bastante especial y que usualmente recibo varias preguntas sobre este tema. Tanto así que decidí que hiciéramos este video para reforzar muchas de las cosas que he dicho antes y asimismo ayudar a todos aquellos que estén pensando en estudiar en Japón o que en general quieran conocer cómo es la vida universitaria y la educación en el país. No obstante, déjenme por favor abajo todas sus preguntas porque estamos aquí para ayudarlos y podemos resolverlas, mandarles enlaces que les sean útiles, videos previos, de todo. Así que no se contengan. Sin darle más largas a este video, comencemos. Este video lo vamos a hacer en inglés porque mi esposo está pero decidido a practicar el idioma, a darle duro y pues obviamente él siempre nos hace el favorcito, así que lo vamos a complacer. So let me explain a little bit about my perspective as a foreigner. I think the most important thing to consider rather than just entering to the university is to get a scholarship because basically we are going to live in a different country. So even though the Japanese universities are not that expensive compared to the United States, we have to make a lot of processes. We need to pay a rent, we need to pay security, we need to live, we need to buy food. So always try to apply through the scholarship selection processes. I have made a video about this, so I'm not going to go into detail, but basically there are different ways to apply if you're undergraduate or if you're just going for the graduate programs and doctor programs. So please check that information. That's actually everything that I have to say. So what about you?
Yeah, it's very difficult. If you want to go to prestigious universities, like Tokyo University, Kyoto University, and Osaka University, and it says like Kyutedai. Kyutedai means like the oldest universities. If you want to go to prestigious universities, you have to get into the prestigious high school before, because that's why Japanese study hard in the junior high school to get into the prestigious high school and to get into prestigious universities. And this universities also background also affect our opportunity to get jobs. So if you don't go to prestigious universities, you cannot get good jobs. It says gakureki shakai.
Oh, okay, it's according to the history of education.
Yeah.
How many hours did you study, for example, when you were in junior high school?
Junior high school, I guess I studied, I don't know, 10 hours per day. But at the time, so I joined the soccer club activities. So yeah, I played soccer 5 days every week. So
yeah, Monday to
So actually, I didn't have time for hobbies. But actually at the time was the hardest time for me. Yeah, that's why now I'm thinking that everything is easy for me.
There are many things to consider. I think perhaps like the most important is the language in which you are studying. Nevertheless, we're going to give our perspective. So I was in an area of humanities. I was in international relations, global affairs, international business. So what I noticed is that we didn't have a lot of homework that involved going outside. And the other thing that I have to mention is that I felt that the Japanese classes tends to be a lecture type. So the professor is speaking, at least in undergraduate, right?
Yeah, that's true.
The professor is speaking and speaking and speaking. People are writing, taking notes, whatever. And it's not like about interactive lessons, right? And the last thing that I want to say, like in my graduate program, we had still like the similar methodology. We still have some lectures, people being really passive. We didn't have that much homework. Of course, we have a thesis, but the professors focus on two things. Having like a final test or like a final presentation rather than having quiz every week or having like 2 midterms. No, maybe some professors have the midterm, but in general you just have a final test Or some classes, you just go to the class every week and you put like a one sheet, one paper, making your comments, what did you learn? And that was all. For me, at least, I didn't feel that it was that difficult because I didn't have to do a lot of homework. What about you as a Japanese? And also, well, I know you were engineer, but what can you say?
No, it's not that hard. And there are a few homeworks. And yeah, actually test also easy because every test, the test, that was like a question before, that was the test before. That test is always repeating. Those professors always pick up the questions from them. So just I studied. So just if you studied from that test, yeah, you can answer it. But everything's written in Japanese. If you don't choose the English class, actually it's difficult to find, I think, English class.
Depends on the major,
teaching
no?
you, electric engineering and those things. So because I know many foreign students who dropped out and who changed the course. But actually, Japanese professors thinking that research is the most important, not...
Yeah, in general for engineering.
And I felt compared to United States, United States college universities value the concept and the very complicated thing, like a theory.
Yeah.
But a Japanese professor don't care about theory. That's what I understood, what American cares about.
Interesting. So from my point of view, as you don't have those homeworks or those classes that are so demanding and you need to do a lot of things in the class, it's really common for the university students to engage in a lot of activity. From the perspective of the foreigners, I know that almost, 80% of them in undergraduate program, they are doing part-time jobs. They work in restaurants, they work in supermarkets, they work in like a hostel and teaching languages. And from the perspective of the Japanese, for example, the classmates that I had, they also have part-time job. I think that's super common. And some of them were also in club activities.
Yeah.
So it's really, really tight. I know that some foreigners don't join club activities because they rather prefer to be traveling in the country. And foreigners that are doing the master program or doctor program that are older, for example, the 30s and 40s, they don't do anything other than school. They can travel and those things, but they don't join part-time job. They don't join clubs because I don't know. What about you? How do you feel?
So what I did was mostly studying, and also in my undergraduate time, I commuted from Hyogo Prefecture to Osaka from my hometown. That's why it took me 2 hours one way to go there. But as I can see from other people, yeah, there are many people are working
part-time.
Yeah, for part-time.
And you also work for part-time?
Yeah, of course.
When you were living close to university?
Yeah. And also, there are many people joining club activities. So if you want to learn a lot of Japanese in daily conversations.
From my point of view, I didn't have any problem, at least like talking with people. There are many factors. Before I was not super pro in Japanese, but I knew the language. And actually with my language knowledge, I can still have conversations with people because they are not expecting you to have perfect Japanese. And I think my technique, I was like joining the international center activities. Almost all the universities have those, so it's quite easy. My problem is that I didn't make like deep relationships, so I was always connected to let's go to this event, but then I didn't talk to those people anymore. So I think that's the biggest issue that you may have, how to maintain the relationship over time, and that's something that it depends on you actually.
And also what I am thinking, if you want to make a friend, I think you should not expect to make a friend in classes. You should join the activities. And as long as I see foreign students and my friends, I think, people who join the club activities have a lot of friends.
And at some point, I will even say that some foreign students in the university, they are quite Many people want to approach actually because they want to practice the languages and those things. So it's not like it's more like where are you from? So thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time, your cooperation. You're so cute, so nice. Y a ustedes muchísimas gracias por ver. Como les mencioné al inicio, déjenme abajo todas sus preguntas, dudas, sugerencias. No se preocupen si ya hablamos de este tema. Pónganlo ya abajito, yo les puedo ayudar con enlaces para que tengan la información. También les puedo recomendar videos de respuestas, mejor dicho, estamos aquí para ayudarlos. No se olviden de compartir con sus amigos y que tengan un bonito día. Matane.
Bye bye.